Does your teen have issues with their friendships at school? And is there drama and trouble that's always brewing? And do you think that they're suffering? Now, all teens have these issues, okay? I've spent 24 years in the classroom with kids, and I know that. And from my therapy and coaching practice, I see it all too often as well. And these are some tried and tested tips that I'm going to give to you and hand them to you, dear mum, to help you along. Now, I know, dear mum, that it's not easy for any teen, especially if your teen is battling anxiety. It can make it a little bit more troublesome and more challenging. So, here are some tips, okay? Tip number one, I want you to try and role play having conversations with their friend. Do that role play with your teens so they can practice what it's like to actually have this banter and conversation when they're safe at home with you, so that when they're going to school, they feel a bit more calm and rehearsed and relaxed. Because remember, if we can visualize it beforehand, it makes it a lot easier and it makes it a reality as well. All right. So, what I want you to do is try and find out what are the hot topics at school. What is it that everyone's talking about, right? Is it the latest football match? Like, I know we've had the World Cup, that was recent. Is it a latest trend on, social media or something like that? Is it maybe even a book that everyone just has to have read? Like in my time, it was The Hate You Give. Everybody just had to read it, regardless of what kind of personality they were or what they were into, everybody was reading it, right? And you know that you would always have this sort of banter and this chit chat about, oh, don't give me a spoiler, no spoiler alert, don't tell me what's happening, and it just let them feel more connected. And remember, this is what it's about, mom. You want to try and role play this with your teen at home, and of course, I'm having the assumption that you are having conversations. If you're not, then that's for another video. But if you are, then this will be a really good thing, all right, to try and help them understand what it's going to be like. So first we'll find out the hot topic, all right? Then obviously let them have a go at and talking about it with them. Now remember, this has to be done in a positive light. And I want you to try, mom, to think back to your high school or your middle school friendships. What was it like for you? Were you ever left out? Maybe you generally were fine, but maybe there was one or two instances where you didn't have a partner on the trip, or you didn't have anyone to sit next to, or maybe your bestie was away that day, whatever. Try to think back. What was it like when, so that the purpose is not to make it about you, of course, but so that you can relate, you can connect with your team. That's what it's all about. And then hopefully it will re-emphasize and reinforce to your teen there's nothing wrong with them. All right, this happened to mom, and look, mom's fine. And it happens, number one, and number two, doesn't last forever. And you really want to try and normalize it as much as possible. Now, of course, mom, we've all done this, and I'm going to tell you as a disclaimer, don't compare your teen to others who don't have issues with friends. Don't compare it, whether it's like your eldest, the sibling, or it's a cousin, or it's a girl down the road or boy down the road. Don't do that, because that's just going to make it harder for them to even share with you that they're having issues. And what I really want you to do is, when you normalize it and practice this role play with your teen, I want you it to be like they really feel that this can be them, right? That they can do this and that it's normal, and it's not such a big deal. All right. And if you can summarize it into maybe 5 lines that they, at the end of your role play, they have 5 lines that they're going to go and try and speak to their friend at school, or to a group of girls or boys at school. It's going to help them connect, because what I find in my practice is a lot of the teens will say, well, Samina, I do go up to people, I do try, but nobody talks to me. Everyone just says, they don't answer me, or they answer me in yes or no. And the problem there is the question, because if your child is saying, did you do your homework, and they just say yeah, or did you have a good weekend, no, and that's it, it's just a yes or no, it's binary answers, right? So you don't want to do that. You really want to practice with them questions, and can open-ended questions where they get the other person to talk a lot more and reveal some feelings, because if they reveal some opinion or feeling that they have, it helps your child to connect, right? You get it? So open-ended questions, that's what you really want. Now, like I said, use your time when you were younger. But the thing is, it is difficult. This is really nuanced. I want you to realize that, yes, you have experience, but I want you to use that experience to connect with them. All right. You can't project upon them because obviously it's their life now. It's their life. It's their time in high school and middle school, and you don't want to project, but you do want to use that experience to bond with them and to connect with them. Okay. I hope that makes sense to you. Now, the second tip that I wanted to give you, number two, all right, is remind your teen of their self-worth. Now, remember, I do have a 3-part video series that can help you along. Simply send me your email address at the end in the comments and I can send it to you. Now, remember, their worth and value is already given to them by God. They have God-given self-worth. They do not need anything external to validate them. All right. So likes on social media, being invited, the number of friends, of course, these are nice to have, and we want them for our kids. I'm a mom of teens myself, right? But remember, these are separate from their value. They already have value. Yeah. Okay. So it's like already being born with an A star or a string of, top grades or whatever. This is what they have. All right. They're already 100%. And in my practice, I have teens telling me all the time that, I feel worthless. I don't feel good enough. I feel invisible. I feel not heard, not seen. And, this is why it's really important that when they leave school, and I know school follows them along on social media, so it's not like they can cut it off so easily, but when they leave school and they come home into your home, I want them to feel loved, safe, and secure and loved unconditionally. And that's really important, that they feel accepted by you and everyone in the home unconditionally, okay? And to know that God is with them and He's for them. And that will really warm their soul, make them feel connected, make them feel that they have value. Because remember, they were born with value, okay? Now, that step number 3, tied closely to that, is self-love. Now, we hear about this all the time. What is this? And, does it make, I worry about self-love. Is it going to make my kid arrogant and narcissistic? No, it's not. And, what we're talking about is using positive affirmations, doing some mirror work. And it's really effective if they can say this in the mirror and use, the high five habit too by Mel Robbins. And, once you've said your affirmation, like, I'm a good person, I like you, Samina, like for myself, but, use their name. I like you. You're doing a great job. And then, high five, well done. You're doing a great job, and do that in the mirror. And it's really dorky and geeky and awkward and whatever. But if they're doing that in the bathroom to set themselves up for success in the morning, that's just amazing. That's going to give them a high vibe. All right. Because if no one else is going to give them a high vibe, they need to give it to themselves. And of course, you as their lovely mom, and their caregivers, you're going to give it to them. Now, remember, we all love praise. Oh, we love praise. All right. And I don't want you to see this as a bad thing, as being needy. No, it's not. All right. We all need that praise. And it's so soothing for the soul, just like cream, like a balm for dry skin. All right. It just lets it in. So praise is going to boost their self-esteem. And the opposite of that, which is for another video, but criticism with their self-esteem. So you don't want to do that. All right. Okay. So that's tip number 3. Tip number 4, I want you to try, and I'm sure you've done this as well as moms, you've probably done this, try to involve them or encourage extracurricular activities. Why? Easy. They're just going to cast their net further afield, and they're going to try and make different friends, new friends that have shared interests with them. Whether it's anime, whether it's photography, whether it's gardening, it can be based, those new friendships can be based upon the interests that they have, making them feel aligned with their own sense of self and their own values, which is really important. And we know, and I know all the time, I see this in my practice, teens can lose their sense of self, all right? And they can lose that and they become dissatisfied and disconnected with them. So to help them feel more aligned with their own values, let them find an activity that they can be in flow. And when they're in that flow state, that gives them such a sense of satisfaction, and that dopamine surges their brain, making them feel really good. And we all love that, right? So let them try and do that as much as possible. Don't give up. I know a lot of teens will say, oh, I hate this and I don't like this and I don't like that. And they just ask them, what would you be interested in? Whether it's makeup, whether it's keeping fit, all right, and doing different things in the gym, different strength training and stuff like that, whatever it is, okay? Encourage it as much as possible. Okay. Fifth tip number 5. All right. How about you enlist a mentor or a coach to help guide them through building confidence and their self-esteem? Now, look, as moms, parents, of course, dads too. I'm not gonna, discount the dads, but as moms, we enlist and we find very happily and quickly tutors to help our kids with their schoolwork so they're not left behind, and then give them a boost with their end of year assessments, etc. We hire sports coaches for tryouts. That's not an issue. Why don't we hire a coach for their mental health and for their confidence and their self-esteem? And on that note, the Fearless Confidence Program, which I run, the group program, is enrolling soon for the next cohort of students. So I want you to check out the link that I leave behind in the description and click there to see what you get and all the bonus content and the amazing guarantee that you're going to get as part of this cohort if you join. And I'll leave all the information there, so you're free to go and have a look. I really hope you enjoy these 5 tips. Practice them. Let me know how they go. I know that they are tried and tested and have got super results, such that the teens will come home and say, wow, it worked. And it really gets the teen. The opposite, if you don't do anything, is unfortunately teens stay in the bathroom at break time and recess, lunchtime. They're on their phone in the bathroom cubicle, don't have anyone to speak to, and they've just got their phone, and that's what they do until the day ends. And of course, because they have anxiety, it's really difficult. It's really difficult for them. So please practice it. Let me know how it goes. I'd love to try and support you even more. Take care now. Bye.